Hey, this is Lauren with TMF Apparel USA. Today I want to talk to you about DTF transfers. I am new to the DTF realm. I have run DTG printers for the last 9 months and also HTV. I've done sublimation, dye sub. I've done dye sub transfers, inkjet transfers. This, however, is not like really any of those. So today I'd like to talk a little bit about my experience with DTF. So what is DTF, you ask? DTF is direct to film printing. Basically, you're going to order some sheets like this, and they come in all kinds of sizes, anywhere from A3, A4, up to large 300-foot rolls of film. What you're going to do is print directly to this with DTF or DTG inks. Now, I've messaged some of the suppliers. Some of them say you can't use the DTG inks, they are different. Some say you can. Use them at your own risk. Here's the thing. What makes this stick to this? So what makes this stick to your shirt? The process for doing this is quite simple. You take your transfer, you put it on your printer, you print your design in reverse, you add some of this magic dust they have over here, heat it up, and then press it onto your shirt. Pretty simple, right? Not really. First thing to note about printing on this is it is side specific. One side's going to be shiny, one side's going to be matte on the products that I have here. You print on the matte side. If you print on the shiny side, ink doesn't really stick to it too well, and you're going to have a very failed print. Secondly, one thing you're going to have to change is the amount of ink that you put down. You can't print this like a garment where we can saturate it with ink and just pound it with tons of white ink, tons of color. You cannot do that with DTF. What you can do is lower your ink percentages down anywhere from 25 to 50%. And you're going to print this, on my printers at least, I'm printing it in 2 pass or more. I'm going to lay down for a dark garment. I'm going to lay down the color ink first. Might do 1 round, might do 2 rounds of color. Going to let that dry a second. Then I'm going to go back on top of it with a nice opaque coat of white. That's going to be our white underbase that's needed for the brighter colors like this to show up on a darker garment. So it's just like doing a DTG print, except backwards. You're going to need more white underbase to help mitigate the dye migration from that color through your design. So once you've printed your design, like so, you're going to take and add some of this. This is a medium powder. This is what allows your transfer ink to stick to your garment. It's basically a glue. You're going to put this on, lather it on here, coat it completely in the powder. From there, shake it off, dust it off, and you're going to need to melt the powder to the ink. I use my heat press. I do a hover, 300 degrees, about 1.5 minutes, 2 minutes. Let it get the kind of graininess off of it, put it to the side, and it's done. Now, once it's powdered, this can sit on the shelf for quite some time. It's not going to go bad. It's not going to activate until you press it onto the garment. Now, why would I use this instead of just doing DTG prints right on my shirt? Well, simple. For one, what I'm holding up here is a neck tag. If I want to put a neck tag on the back of this shirt, I'd have to pre-treat the shirt, flip it inside out, heat press it, dry it, put it on my platen, line it up perfect, and then load up this and print one of these. Might take 40 seconds to print a neck tag on a shirt, take it off, heat press it for another 90 seconds to 2 minutes, take it off for each and every shirt. With DTF, I can put 1 sheet of this on my platen and I could print 20 neck tags at one time, take them off, powder them all at one time, cure them all at one time. Then I can simply cut the size I need, put it on my shirt, press it 15 seconds, pull it off, let it cool, and peel this off just like a regular transfer. That will speed up the process immensely, especially for doing something like this. If I had a ton of pockets to do, this works well with pockets as well. Now, one thing I will tell you about DTF, the feel is not the same as a DTG print. Now, it doesn't feel like plastic. It doesn't feel like inkjet transfers where they get all crumply, but there is somewhat of a texture to it. It still stretches really well. You can see here, I can probably stretch this guy out a little bit. It's not going to fade like that. It's still a DTG ink, just backed with a glue to keep it to the shirt. Now, another thing you need to keep in mind is what your design is going to look like. When I print on a black shirt, something like this design right here, the black that you see here on the screen, there's no ink here, right? So what the software does, in this case it's Cathari with the Freejet, is it treats all black pixels as transparent pixels and prints no ink. So the actual color shirt of the garment is what's showing through, which gives me these nice, if you can see on here, these nice seamless fades from color to black. I will say with DTF, you would print your transfer the same as you would print it as if it was on a black garment. And what it's going to do is fade it off. I will say that the fade, to me personally, is not as good as the DTG print. When I press it on there, I can still see a little bit of where the ink stopped and the shirt begins. Ideally for me, that's not great for a lot of my designs. But if you did have something that was a more rigid design, say you wanted to print something like this, where it's just a solid color, it works really well for that. If it was self-contained inside of its own boundaries and it didn't have a subtle fade, it works great for that. You know, vector images, it's going to do fine. A lot of the designs I do, I like to have a little bit more of a fade to black on them. They get a little bit funky. But as you can see, doing a pocket, very ideal for that. I used to do these out of vinyl. I've also done them on the DTG. Takes a little bit of time. If I can just print this and put it to the side, press it on, and get the same exact look, then I'm all for it. So, and that, it is very useful for that application. Now, when you start looking for DTF printers, you're going to find a lot of wide format Epsons out there. There's quite a few companies converting them, and they're basically taking some of the rollers out so it's not leaving marks on the film, maybe converting them into ink tank systems where they're no longer using a cartridge so that they can convert them, or using refillable cartridges and replacing the ink in them as well, even turning them on to roll feed. So they're basically going to print, you know, tens of feet at a time of designs down there and run them through a shaker, powder them. And if you're going to do this large scale, there's definitely some great ways to make that happen. For me, on my DTG, I like the fact that I can print that design just a little bit. I can use a piece, here. I can use a piece like this and just cut sections out of it. I can put it on my platen and print just in this section, and therefore I'm not really wasting a bunch of material. So when I take a transfer that's 16 by 20, I can print either one image on it that takes up the whole thing. I can cut it up. I don't really have waste. I kind of treat it like vinyl when it comes to that. I do like that. I also like the fact that I can do multiple passes across my DTG. If I was to run that in a single pass print, say on this other printer that I have here, which does do single pass, I would, once you print it, you're kind of done. You know, there's no going back because that initial layer is what's important. And once you print color and you put white behind it, you can't print color again. So that one's kind of dead in the water. At least with this, I could print it, and if I don't have enough color on the first pass, I can add a second pass to it. I can continually do that with white and build up enough on there to make sure that what I'm doing is going to be satisfactory. So when it comes to printing the DTF, I do like that option. Now, there are several people out there using P600, P800 Epsons that I've seen doing single print passes. They're faster for sure. You could print, you know, this design simple. You could do something maybe like that in 30 seconds, pump out a bunch of them at one time. For me, I feel like where I'm at with DTF, I'm not really looking to go that route. I wanted something that was going to be easier, doing shoulders, sleeves, pockets, neck tags. You could definitely do it on hats. The DTF will stick to just about anything, nylon, polyester, denim. So it's great transfer for everything outside of just the cotton realm or the heavy cotton realm base for the DTG. So if you have little things you want to do on hats, you can press that sucker right on there. I have tried it with that. It does work. You just need a decent hat press that's going to cure it evenly to make it happen. So if you have a DTG machine and you're looking to get into DTF, the cost to get started is pretty minimal. You can buy yourself a starter pack of transfers. You can get 10, 20, or 100 of them, you know, anywhere from $10 to $30 on some of those starter packs. You can buy the medium here, which is going to go a long way. You're not really going to waste a lot of it. You're going to put it on there. A lot of guys put it in a big baking tray or a big baking pan and just shake it. Whatever excess runs off is still fine. Just keep it in there, keep shifting it, keep shaking it, keep putting it on. It's only going to cover the part of the transfer that has ink on it. So one of these little guys here, I don't remember how much it weighed. It was maybe a pound of medium powder, is pretty inexpensive. You can get started relatively cheap. Just know when you first start, print little things, print small stuff, and get your settings right. And not every image is going to require the same settings, but they should be similar. That way you don't waste a ton of transfers. I think I maybe went through 5 or 6 paper size transfers when I got started, just doing test prints and then pressing them onto shirts and seeing how one looked versus the other, checking my settings, all that jazz. So I would, you know, keep in mind that you're going to waste a few. But if you're looking to get into it and you already have a DTG machine, it is a great way to go. If you have customers that would like to buy designs, definitely easier to do than probably solvent printing. I think it definitely feels better than a solvent print transfer. And you can print these, powder them, cure them, put a little separator sheet in between them, put them in an envelope, and ship them right off to customers. You could ship them 1, 100, doesn't matter. All they need is a heat press or an iron that will cover it evenly. Press it for 15, 20 seconds, all done. So it's a great thing you can do there to expand your business as well, selling the pre-printed transfers if you're not going to also put them on the shirts. So keep that in mind. I cannot emphasize this enough. When it comes to DTF, the biggest difference is going to be there is no pre-treat at all. I don't have to spray anything on my shirt, dark garment, light garment, color garment. It does not matter. This is what adheres your design to your fabric. So that does cut out some of the process. Also, some of those awkward burn boxes you could get on heather grays or white tees. If you're doing a DTF transfer on a white shirt, you can just print all color on the image, powder it, cure it, press it, and you do not need an underbase for that to show up, and it works fantastic. I would say that if you're doing it on a light color garment, a white shirt, that the feel is definitely not quite like this because you don't require as much ink and it's not as thick. So very, very effective for that, and you can easily print full color images, photos, everything right there on them and press them right on, peel them off, ready to go. If you were printing these guys up all day long, you know, to press the shirts, definitely less time than DTG for sure. So that is an option. The fades on white are going to be better than the fades on black because you're not printing the white ink to black fade. So keep that in mind as well. I'm going to be posting some other videos, so check out the channel. I've got videos from all kinds of stuff on there, but I will have a section specifically, a playlist specifically for direct-to-garment and my apparel business. Check out the website at tmfapparelusa.com. I'm on Instagram, Snapchat, TikTok, Facebook. I'm on everything. So I'm going to keep uploading content, new designs. Feel free to leave a comment. Shoot me an email if you have some questions about it, would like to place an order. I also do print on demand. If you've got a brand out there or a business and you'd like to get some shirts, I can print you 1 shirt. We can print 100 shirts. So holler at me for that. Till next time.